Smith to the outside, and that is and it's so all night long, going at him, burning him. Now he gets to celebrate. Aubrey is the back of the field. That's what he needed here. Well fired for touchdown, CeeDee Lamb.
Hello, Cowboy fans, and welcome back to the Everything Cowboys podcast. I'm here to tell you about the game against the Seattle Seahawks in which the Cowboys won 41-35. It's not a blowout win, but it is a win, and a win is a win in my book. The Cowboys came out sort of slow, I'd say. Their defense really did not play the way I was hoping it would, but the offense really picked up the slack and really came out in that fourth quarter, scoring on the last three drives, a touchdown sandwiched by 2 field goals to win the game. And the defense did come through in the end, but I wasn't happy with the very beginning of the Cowboys defense at the very beginning of the game. That can be pushed off to the side, but it's just it is what it is, and the Cowboys have been a very big thing, and they have some players that need to be watched. And some of those, I will break that down in the big players in this win versus the Seahawks. That's going to be one thing that I really want to point out. I also have some challenges that I noticed that need to be overcome. Those challenges really showed themselves today. One of those challenges was one that came out last year and was a really big problem for the Cowboys. I think one of the reasons that we lost a few of those games in the regular season, and then one that hurt us in the postseason, and then one that really he's been big this season, and now he sort of hit a wall. Also, I have some big pluses this year that I've started to notice that I'm going to go into, and then some awards that were awarded on Thursday afternoon before the game. All of those are what I'm going to be bringing to you guys today. Starting off with the big players in this win versus the Seattle Seahawks. Dak Prescott. He threw on last night for 299 yards, 1 yard short of 300. He also had 3 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, and 29 completions on 41 attempts. He has been a very, very big player and very monumental, and I think he has a big role to play in the upcoming season. I'm really looking forward to him, and I want to see what Dak Prescott could do. He has thrown for 1,597 yards, 16 touchdowns, and just 1 interception this season. I am looking forward to see what he can continue to do the rest of the season. He's only had 1 interception in November. Those are the November stats. He has had 131 completions for 190 passes. So a big thing that he has done is complete passes and not throw it into a place where it can be intercepted. That is one big thing from last year that he has fixed. Over his year so far, over the 11 games he's played in this 2023 season, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for 3,234 yards and a passer rating of 108.27. So I'm really hyped on what Dak Prescott has done. I'm looking forward to see what he can do the rest of the season and what we can do when we get to the playoffs, because that is something that we need. We need a quarterback who can play this way and can get us to the playoffs. If we can do that, we should be good. We should be golden. We've done that with other quarterbacks. We've had Tony Romo, and he played a bunch of seasons with us. They went to the playoffs. They had postseason woes. That's what we need to fix. We need to fix the postseason woes. We have not gotten past the divisional round with Tony Romo or Dak Prescott. That's just something that we need to fix. We need to change right now. I'd be happy if we get to the championship. I'd be out of my mind if we get past the championship game into the Super Bowl. It would be a huge movement shift, and I'd say it silences all the critics that haven't been silenced by Dak Prescott yet. That Dak Prescott has silenced several critics. One that's very outspoken. It's not just a Dak Prescott hater; it is a Cowboy hater. He is on ESPN. Steven, hey, I don't know what it is with him and the Cowboys. He just hates them, does not like them, and finds every little thing to poke at them and tear them down. He will not point out the good things that they've done. He will only point out the bad things. I'm here to combat that, as well as several others who have been pushing back against him, and bringing out the good in Dak Prescott, in CeeDee Lamb, in the defense, in the offense. Some things that they need to change is their drafting way. They need to pick up some offensive linemen because the offensive line is getting old and they need to replace them. I don't see they need to get people that they can train to replace them. They don't need to replace them just yet. I feel like the offensive line is doing a phenomenal job. They're doing better this year than they did last year and are able to protect Dak Prescott more. I'm looking forward to seeing if the line can stay healthy, and if it can stay healthy, they've got a very big chance. He does have only 6 interceptions, and only 2 QBs in the top 10 list, which I'm about to bring to you right now, have less. That is CJ Stroud and Lamar Jackson, both with 5 interceptions. Dak has 6. Brock Purdy is one that has the same amount, and he is also in that top 10. But the one who is number one this season is Dak Prescott. He was number 4 out of last week, and now he is number 1 coming into this week. The rankings reflect each quarterback standing heading into week 13. So this was done before the Cowboys game, about 5 o'clock, just 2 hours before the Cowboys was when this came out. I did not see this until today. But he does not mention anything that happened in the game except for the fact that they are playing the Seahawks in this. He has been huge. There was an editor's update that did come out, and the reading is that the quote is Dak Prescott keeps pumping out big numbers in wins, completing 29 of 41 passes for 299 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 41-35 win over Seattle on Thursday night. They will add editors updates as more games are completed on Sunday. But that was added after the fact. Everything else that's before that is before the game, and it's what he has done and why he is put in there. They did not put him in that number 1 spot because if you look at the teams he played, the teams he beat, the teams he scored against, were all the big wins, all those big wins that everybody is hyped up on, and I'm one of them. They're against teams that are under 500. They're losing teams. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're just below average teams. And Giants are one of them. Cowboys have absolutely blown them up. Washington Commanders, they blew them up. The Chargers, the Rams, and the Patriots are also other teams that they have just destroyed. And the Jets, I forgot to mention those. The Jets are ones that are struggling. I don't think they are going to really compete this year. Aaron Rodgers, if you come back, don't come back this year. Come back next year, and we'll see what you can do there. But the Cowboys have roasted every team so far, except for the Cardinals, which are an under 500 team. That's the only under 500 team we've lost to. The San Francisco 49ers, which did have a 3-game losing streak following that, shortly following that. And then the Eagles, which we barely lost to on the final drive. Dak Prescott suffered a sack and then threw it to CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee did not get it into the end zone. He was a few yards short. But Dak Prescott is number one on the top 10 list. Others, of course, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Tua, and CJ Stroud sit in that top five. There is one that is moved up, and he has shown himself, and that is Russell Wilson. Last year had a terrible season with the with the Broncos, but this year he's coming out and he's sitting right outside the top 10. I'm looking for him to step into that top 10 list and see what the Broncos can do with their playoff run. Another big player for the the Cowboys win against the Seahawks was C.D. Lamb, the man, and he has been a big player all season, really. He is one that I have been watching, and I am really happy with how he has played. Um, he's got to continue playing this way, and if he can continue to play this way, we're looking pretty good. Honestly, I don't see us falling apart unless CD Lamb and Dak Prescott and a few other big players get injured. Um, if Dak gets injured, I don't think we're going to make it far in the playoffs at all. CD Lamb had 12 receptions and 116 yards and 1 touchdown. Several big receptions for CD Lamb. But he did say, I wouldn't be here without the team. And he is crediting the O-line for giving Dak Prescott time and Dak Prescott for being able to break out of tackles, which is one thing that he did. He broke out of several different tackles to make plays. He broke out of one and then was able to scramble out and throw it to the sideline where it was caught. And that one was big. So that's one that I'm really looking for. So he had several runs where he broke away and was able to get the ball away to his receivers. One was a short little flip out to Tony Pollard. And Tony Pollard's another one that has been a big player, but not such a big player today. He ran into a sort of wall. Also, Jake Ferguson. What is Jake Ferguson up to? He is he with today's game, the he tied future Hall of Famer tight end Jason Witten, who is coaching a high school team right now, and they are going to a championship. Looking forward to seeing if he can win there in his second year. But he is a future Hall of Famer tight end and was a big piece. His first 2 seasons, he had 7 touchdown catches, and now Jake Ferguson has tied him. He is an extremely rare tight end and has made catches all over the field, not just touchdown catches. He has made catches all over the field. And if he can continue to do this, man, we have got ourselves a tight end. We have ourselves a running back. We have ourselves a quarterback. We have ourselves, it keeps on going on. We have ourselves defensive players. It just continues to add up. And if we can continue to keep these players and keep them healthy and keep turning out big plays, we have a very, very, very good chance of going to this playoffs and advancing past that first or second round and getting into the championship round. And hopefully, fingers crossed, if we can continue to play this way, we can get to the Super Bowl. But he has been one that has been huge this season. He has played above average of what everyone was expecting, and he has proved that he can take the spot of I can't even remember his name now. He plays for the Texans and is helping CJ Stroud out there. But he has taken his place, Dalton Schultz. He has taken Dalton Schultz's place and now is just continuing to play and is proving that he is among the best tight ends out there. Another big one is Micah Parsons. Now, he didn't get his hands dirty with hands on the quarterback and bringing that quarterback to the ground with the ball in his hands, but he did have several pressures, and those pressures helped the Cowboys win and brought up several of those fourth down plays. A big one, the final play of the Seattle Seahawks offense. Micah Parsons put pressure on Geno Smith, and that was the linebacker's seventh time putting pressure on the quarterback in the game. Micah Parsons is one, he has been so amazing. He is one that the Cowboys, I'm happy the Cowboys picked him up because he is one that the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are happy they picked him up. He has helped out the Cowboys on the line. He was a linebacker, and now he's been moved. He's said to still be a linebacker, but he's put in as a defensive lineman. He's not a big defensive lineman. Most big defensive linemen you see have a lot of weight. They're sort of on the chubbier side, but they still have speed and they have the ability to get through O-line and get to the quarterback and take the quarterback down. He is one of the smaller ones. He is one of the less beefier ones, but he is still strong. He is extremely fast, and he is playing at a high speed. And that is one. If he can continue to play this way, he has got a season ahead of him, and he could, if he continues to play this way, he's definitely going to the Hall of Fame. Same with Dak Prescott. I think he's a future Hall of Famer. Don't know yet, but CeeDee Lamb, if he continues, he's also going to go there. While we did have big players and big moments in the Cowboys game, we also had some challenges. And those challenges need to be overcome before we face the Eagles, and we have more than a week to do that. Big one is penalties. The game was filled with penalties. I mean, you couldn't go a possession without seeing a yellow flag on the ground. And I mean, there are some games where you see that. There are some drives where you don't see a yellow flag, and there are some games where you don't see a yellow flag for most of the game, for the first part of the game, for a huge section of it. But this one, 19 total penalties that were accepted. There were 6 others that were not accepted. But those 19 added up for 257 total yards. How did two teams, now I will say they both lead the league in penalties committed, but how did they combine for 257 yards? Only 19 accepted penalties. Answer is pass interference. A big one. The Cowboys had one early that helped them get their first touchdown and the lead back, a 43-yard one. They also committed several. Now, Seattle did have more. They had 10 of the 19, and Dallas had 9. The Seahawks penalty cost them 130 yards, while the Cowboys set them back only 127, 3 yards less. But still, Cowboys need to fix their penalties. They had several that helped the Seattle Seahawks keep moving the ball down the field on third down, on second down. They helped the Seattle Seahawks. It's like the defense was playing for the offense and giving them plays. It was just devastating for Cowboy fans alike. And it set the Cowboys up for disaster, but the Cowboys did manage to come through and fight for that. Another big one this is a player, not as a team, that needs to be fixed. I know he came out and right now has 8 interceptions and 5 of those are pick sixes, but I believe DaRon Bland needs to fix his defensive problem. I'm fine if he becomes a big player and is a great defensive player, but defensive players aren't only about getting interceptions. Interceptions are big parts of being a defensive player, and they really solidify yourself as a starter, but he really needs to pick up his actual defending. He can't just jump every single play like he did against DK Metcalf. He jumped that very first pass and got blown out. I mean, this brings me back to when Trayvon Diggs had that breakout season. He had a pick 6 on the Patriots, and then the very next play, they attack him again. He jumps the ball and whiffs, and they score like a 70-plus yard touchdown. That happened against the Cowboys. Deron Bland jumped the ball, and DK Metcalf had a walk-in touchdown. It's just and that's not the only one. That's the big one, but it's not the only part. And I know Stephen A is going to come out and say, "Oh, Deron Bland, he came out of a big game with his fifth interception. Of course, it's a season record, but still, he's not the best defensive player off there. He is. He is a big player, and he has um put himself in there for MVP candidate. Um, Overall. Same with Dak Prescott. He's also put himself in there. But Deron Bland needs to fix that. If he does, he's still in the MVP talk. He did come in with an interception in the third quarter. That was big. And I'm really happy he did it, because if he can do it after having a bad game like that, I think I think he's beginning to fix it, because that was early in the game. He did fix it later on and started playing actual defense instead of interception time. Some big pluses that I want to point out that I've noticed so far through the season compared to last season, and I guess past seasons, is the run defense. The run defense has been terrible in past years, and they have fixed that with additions. And I mean, Dan Quinn has done a phenomenal job with putting players where they have the most impact. And one thing is he's working with the owner, and he's been getting defensive players. Mosley Smith was one. He's played a little bit, but he's not been in as much as I think he's been in there more than I think he has. Just like Stephon Gilmore has been a bigger player than I think. They attack Stephon Gilmore, and Stephon Gilmore says, "Don't attack me. I'm just going to knock that ball out of the air." He has 2 interceptions, but he has been an amazing defensive player. A good pickup. I'm happy for that. But the run defense has really picked up their game, as well as the run game. Both sides on the ground have picked up their game. Tony Pollard came out with 68 yards on 20 carries. And he has been a big player this season. Also, Rico Dowdle, a big pickup for us, and Deuce Vaughn have both played pretty well overall. Deuce Vaughn hasn't played much, and he was an injury coming into the game, so he did not get any touches, and I don't even think he suited up as he was an injury. Another big plus this season is turnovers, and those are turnovers by our offense, not our defense. Our defense needs to continue taking away the ball. That is one that they need to continue doing. Keep doing that, Cowboys. Please keep doing that. But the offensive turnovers. Dak Prescott, 6 interceptions. I mean, who has been a bigger comeback out of last season than Dak Prescott? Only 6 interceptions this year, and that's over. Like, he has been throwing the ball where he needs to. He has been more on point. He has been dropping dimes in the breadbasket. He's been throwing absolute pointers and getting the ball in the exact spot it needs to be. That is one that he perfected over the offseason, and I'm happy he did. He picked up, he had 12 interceptions last 12 games, 15 interceptions. If he's going to throw 15 interceptions in 12 games this year, it needs to happen against the Eagles, and he would need to throw 9 interceptions. That's not going to happen. Otherwise, I'm turning the game off after the first quarter, because he can't do that. I doubt he's going to do it. He has been so good so far this season. Those interceptions did kill him last season. But still, he has been a big one. He threw 10 interceptions the year before that, 11 in 2019, and 13 in 2017 after throwing only 4 for a career low in 2016, and then only 4 in 2020. But he only played 5 games there, so that kind of is not really a big one. He did only that was the year he played only 5 games because of the broken leg. So he has been a big one that has come out from last season into this season and has fixed his game. Another one is home field advantages. That it's a big difference in these two seasons in now versus the beginning of when they built the stadium. They had a road game that was better than their home game. 30 wins, 26 losses on the road. Pretty average, I would say. But their home games were not as good. They had 27 wins on 29 losses. So they had more losses at home than they did wins, and that is not what you need to do at home. But they have flipped the script. And this season, last season and this season, they've been undefeated at home. Undefeated. They have won 13 straight home games, starting against the Bengals last week and continuing through this week. Really big, and I'm really hyped. If the Cowboys get home field advantage in the playoffs, it's going to be big because then we can absolutely roast the teams that we play, as our home field advantage has been amazing. Another big one, kicker Brandon Aubrey, with 26 field goals. He has been phenomenal. He kicked field goals today and helped the Cowboys get to a win. He is one I think he should have received an award. Players that did get an award. Dak got the NFC Offensive Player of the Month, and afterwards he said no difference to me when they were hitting me and calling for my position, honestly. I'm blessed. I'm super blessed. And I'm thinking about that each and every day that I wake up. And I'm grateful for that opportunity to do that. And I go and attack the day. Totally agree with him. Every day, everybody should attack the day that they are in. Attack the day. Go into it with high hopes. Go into it doing big things and getting better and better at what you do. Whether that be football, whether that be in the office, whether that be in your life. Whatever you do, go into it, attack the day, and be the best person you can be. That is a big thing, and Dak Prescott has really accepted that and gone for it. He is a big player, and I'm really happy with what he's done this year and hoping he can continue. Another one, Deron Bland, right before he goes in and gets blown up and gives up a bunch of yards, he gets Defensive Player of the Month. And that comes after he has a total of 5 pick sixes for the season. And it's just what he has been able to do has been huge, and his impact has been noticed. I think going back to Brendan Aubrey, I think he should have got kicker of the month. Kicker of the month, kicker, like he should have gotten an award. Um, it's just he's been phenomenal. He has not missed on field goals. He's missed 3 extra points. Push that out of the mind. 2 of them did happen this month, which may have been the reason, but he has made field goals after field goal after field goal, and he just keeps kicking. He is one of the best legs so far in the season, and I am really hyped on him. And if I can find him, I'm putting him on my fantasy team over whoever else I have, because they are not kicking the way Brandon Aubrey is. When I heard Brandon Aubrey was coming out of soccer, I'm like, he's just another kicker. We we needed to fix our kicker. Maybe he can do something, but he's not going to be that good. And I have been proven wrong, and I will accept that. But I will close this up. I am looking forward to Sunday. Eagles play San Francisco this week, and then they come to Dallas for one of our last 2 home games. We also play the Bills in December, which I'm not looking forward to. We go to Miami, and then we come back home to face the Detroit Lions in week 17, and then we go to Washington to close out the season, and then it's the postseason. The postseason will be on us before you guys know it, and I am ready to go. Go Cowboys. Let's get to the postseason. Let's get to the championship game. Let's get to the Super Bowl. Go Cowboys. We have a Super Bowl team. And players are even announcing that. Micah Parsons is one. He says Dak Prescott is a guy that is going to hopefully lead us to the Super Bowl. Cowboys are getting ready to go. And I'm looking forward to this season. I feel like it's different than any other season that I've been alive for. so far. So I am looking forward to the rest of the season, see what the Cowboys can do next week against the Eagles, and finish out the rest of the season.
Physicality there, Brooks.
30-yard attempt for Aubrey, who hasn't missed the season. He's 23 for 23, the 28-year-old rookie former soccer. Land comes to the left.